Hey everyone, it's John from San Diego Seed Company, and it is early spring, and we're going to talk about harvesting in the garden a little bit. So we're going to be talking about harvesting greens, brassicas, herbs, and just kind of why we're picking some things, why we might not be picking some things, and diving into all that a little bit more. Before we do that, be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay in the loop with everything that we're up to. All right, so we're going to start off with looking at some kale here. We have some really nice dino kale, and this is not flowering yet. So what we're going to do is cut and come again method. Just coming down at the bottom, grabbing the oldest and most mature leaves, and just tossing those right into our bowl. Working our way around the plant to make sure that we get nice even distribution of growth, and we'll continue to let those little guys in the middle keep growing. Now it is the beginning of spring here, so that means days are getting a little bit longer, temperatures are getting warmer, and insects are coming out. We've got quite a few little aphids and pests coming in on this kale, so always be sure to give it a nice little rinse and don't just bite it like that. Don't do that. All right, now we are over here at the Ethiopian kale, a little bit older, a lot different flavor, so we love to grow it as another option in the garden. However, this has been in the ground longer, and you'll see it's already going to flower here. That means the plant's flavor is really starting to change, and the plant, it's moved on to its next stage in its life cycle. It doesn't care about its leaves as much anymore. It's really just trying to flower and produce seed. And that's not really what we're looking for, so we're gonna harvest some of this, maybe enjoy it a little bit, but more than anything, we're gonna let the plant keep doing its thing and save that seed for next season. We're in another part of the raised bed, just a few feet away from where you saw a second ago, and we have about a dozen Ethiopian kale plants here. That is way too many, way more than we need right now. So what we're actually gonna do is only pick about one or two to stay in the ground, because we need all of this room for tomatoes, for peppers, eggplant, all the yummy summer things that are gonna be coming into the garden in just a couple weeks here. All right, so here we have two lettuce plants. This is the, oh, what is this?
I'm keeping that, no, it's Marvel of 4 Seasons.
This is the Marvel of 4 Seasons, and we have two plants here. This one went in the ground a little bit earlier and has already gone to flower. The flavor, the texture of the leaves just isn't there anymore. This guy, however, has a nice head going and is really starting to get close, but before it goes to flower, we're gonna wanna harvest that, pick up this mess I just made, and enjoy it before it goes to flower. We've got some arugula behind us, already gone to flower. It's a lost cause, super spicy, but we're letting it do its thing, go to seed, and we'll have some nice volunteers, save some of that seed for next season. But we also have some spinach here, a lot of really nice leaves. I usually like to come out and just pick a handful of our biggest leaves with our cut and come again method, toss that into the smoothie. But because the days are getting longer, summer's right around the corner, we're gonna need this room. We can also just go after the whole plant, harvest that entire thing, add that into some salad, and have a really nice, healthy, homemade ingredient. All right, we are in the pea tunnel. Not what it sounds like, but lots of delicious, delicious peas going on in here. Small ones, super delicious, super edible, love the flavor. However, I do want to point out some of these older pods. You can see there, the peas are really forming on the inside. We're actually gonna leave this on the plant because it's not gonna taste as nice right now. It's gonna get really fibrous, but we're gonna save these for next season and get a nice jump on planting these in the fall. So moving on from the yellow pods, these are the mammoth melting. That's a really nice time where we like to eat them. They can even get a little bit bigger, nice and sweet, but this monster right here is a perfect example of one that we're gonna leave on the plant to continue to mature, produce seed. I mean, that thing's, it's a monster. It's bigger than my fingers. So we're gonna let that do its thing and save those seeds for next year. All right, we gotta take a quick harvest break. We got way too many of these. We've been giving them away to friends, neighbors, everyone we meet. So we gotta get some of these off the plant, let it keep growing, and get some of these out of here. All right, we are really at the end of the cool season here, and this broccoli plant was planted a little bit later in the season. I think this went in December, and that's the main head. That's what it's given us. So, you know, normally broccoli, you're gonna be getting a lot larger. That guy's kind of it. But we have a lot of other broccoli that I wanna show you that have started to go to flower, but they're still totally edible. Love to get these little side shoots, roast them up, stir fry them, or just eat them straight. All right, I just ate that. Maybe I shouldn't have. This thing is covered in aphids, so that's just kind of what's gonna happen. So maybe you should give things a little bit rinse before you pop it in your mouth. Now these broccoli plants are some of the first that we planted in the season. All have entirely gone to flower, and yeah, we like to keep them for seed, but we also keep them for the bees. Now, end of the day right now, it's cloudy, it's cold, not very much bee activity right now, but usually these are just covered in dozens and dozens of pollinators, and it's really awesome to have some flowers that are available early for the bees early in the year. All right, here we have a nice row of cilantro, and looks beautiful and is really primed for harvest, but if we dig into the middle of some of these, they've already started to bolt. And so what we want to do is really come through and harvest pretty heavily. And that's gonna slow down the bolting process a little bit. Ideally, we would have done this at least a week or two before, because now the plant's already saying, I'm going to flower, I'm doing my thing. So this is gonna slow that process, but flavor, texture, and the plant's goals have already changed. It's really trying to produce flower, produce seed, and die.
Nice.
We love cilantro. We're always making salsa. This is actually our youngest row here, but let's show you some of the other plants that went into the ground a little bit earlier than these. So right here, all of these big stalks coming up from the middle of the plant, it's done its thing. It's going to flower. It's moved on from us. It doesn't care about us. These are the leaves that we want to see, that we want to harvest for taste. Now let's compare these. Much smaller leaves, more frilly. That's gonna just work on creating flowers and going to seed. So this stalk here is what we don't want to see when we're harvesting our herbs. So this cilantro, still kind of good, but really not ideal flavor. So not ideal time to be harvesting it. But this is our second planting of cilantro. Let's show you the cilantro that went into the ground first and show you what that's up to. All right, so here we have the first cilantro that we planted back in November out of these three that we're showing you. You see a lot of these tall stalks that have frilly leaves, and actually at the end of this stalk you can see we already have some flowers forming and just starting to open up. So we're gonna leave these for the pollinators again, also for seed production. We love to harvest those seeds. We'll use them a little bit in cooking, but really saving them for next season. But these plants are pretty much shot, so that's why it's so important to be succession planting, so we always have fresh produce that's at its ideal time to harvest for us to eat. So on the note of succession planting, we're here at the carrots. We've been enjoying fresh carrots, and these are some of the last batch that we have going into the ground. But as these mature, they're not quite ready, making sure we have ideal spacing, enough plant for those roots to develop. And right over here, we have a couple that are a little too close, so I'm gonna just yank that guy out. I can eat these carrot tops, I can enjoy the greens, but by pulling this, we're gonna allow that other plant, a little bit larger, more mature, continue to develop unhindered by this guy. All right, so they're not ready yet, but we have enough, so we're gonna pull out this guy. Oh, we got a little one of these leggy creatures going on. So not vegetables, but on the topic of thinning, wanted to show you our apple tree really quickly. Now, flowers have gotten pollinated, fruits are starting to develop. We're gonna take some of these smallest guys away to let the bigger ones continue to develop, just like with the carrots. All right, found myself a nice little strawberry to munch on really quick. Enjoying the first strawberries of the season. Have a really nice head of lettuce here. This guy, we've got to get out of the ground quick. He's really starting to head up and to form that center piece, which is where we're gonna see that stalk and that flower come right up the middle. But before we do that, wanted to show you a few radishes here. And this guy, we let go a little bit long And we've got ourselves a bit of a monster on our hands. All right, well, I've harvested dinner. Got a lot of snacks going on here for the next couple days, and I'm gonna enjoy one little borage flower before I head on up and get in the kitchen.